started off playing music, my first instrument was guitar. And I played guitar my whole, all the way up to college. And I switched, shortly after I switched to start playing classical guitar. And I loved it. And I went to school, when I went to college, I didn't want to go to college because I was playing drums in a rock band, so I picked up drums along the way, and then I had a really great piano teacher, so I was really playing lots of instruments, and I didn't want to go to school. I just wanted to play in rock bands and smoke pot, which you can do nowadays, but back then you got in trouble. But my dad insisted, so I said I want to go for drums, and he found out about percussion and got me percussion lessons, and as soon as I hit the marimba the first time, I just remember I hit a couple notes and I went, oh my God, this is amazing. And for whatever reason, I don't know, I fell in love with the mallet instruments, and I switched to vibraphone in college. And that's all I played since. And I didn't keep the guitar going. In fact, just to make the story accurate, when I got out of college, it was kind of my dark years when I got out of school. So I was kind of caught up in a bunch of things I shouldn't have been. And I smashed the guitar. Yeah, I can look back, I'm 58 now, so I can look back at that person, and it's not the same person that's here now, so I can talk about him, and I don't even feel embarrassed. So I really regret that, because I just thought, if I would have picked the guitar back up, because I stopped for 4 years, if I would have got it going again, I would play classical guitar, because one of the things I do on YouTube is listen to all the classical guitar players, and I just love it. So, but from college on, it was vibes, and that was it. And it's not an easy instrument to make a living on, and I've hustled for 30-something, 40 years now. Well, if I think of some of my favorite musicians, it's kind of a wide scope, because when I was a teenager, up until college, it was all the rock guys. So I was into Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Led Zeppelin, but then when I got into school, I kind of became a jazz snob. So then I hated my past, and I would put it down, and luckily, once I got out of school and played for a few years, I remember somebody saying to me, a jazz snob, saying, rock music sucks, it only has 3 chords. And I said back to him, I said, well, wait a minute, so what has 2 chords? A blues only has like 4 chords. And I was naming all these tunes that only, and at that moment, I thought, oh, this is jive. I love that music, so then I went back to it, and I love jazz. I love listening to jazz. So all that stuff inspired me. All the guys, when I was young, it was Bill Evans and Mike Meniere. In fact, tonight, as you know, my friend, it's amazing, he's my friend, Elliot Zygmunt. Elliot was Bill Evans' drummer. So Mike Meniere, of course I love Milt Jackson. I mean, I think you have to, but he's so incredible. And of course I love Gary Burton, and I loved a vibe player named Dave Friedman, who when I started going to Germany, I met in Germany, and we actually have a vibraphone duo now. So he's like a mentor that I've looked up before I even knew him, and now I get to play with him when I'm in Europe. So those are the guys that I think kind of influenced me the most. So I started about 10 or 11 years ago now, a site for vibraphone players. And my dad helped me. He gave me a lot of money to buy all the equipment. I had to learn how to use video cameras, learn how to use Final Cut and Logic, how to edit and do 2-camera shoots, which I'm not good at, but I'm good enough to do what I do. And I built it up, and there's over 5,000 Vibe players on the site now. And a bunch of them, not 5,000, not even 1,000, but a few hundred, it dips and goes up. They pay me once a month for and I have lessons. I have about 1,500 lessons on there, and I do it. I pay Ben Galise, who's another Philadelphia. He's a great vibe player, and I pay him, and he puts lessons up. And I have vibe players from all over the world, which enabled me to go say, okay, well I've got 400 vibe players in Germany. I'm going to do a workshop. All I got to do is get 10 of them, 15 of them, and I cover my flight and I make some money. And that's what I began doing with the numbers. And that's what I've done for the last 10 years. And because of the site, I've gotten to go just all around the world and do these workshops. and then meet people and play in bands and get all that going. So, well, the business side of what I do, if anybody looked at it closely, nobody would say I'm a good business person. But I managed to make it all work, and the thing I'm good at is hustling and coming up with ideas. And in fact, as a musician, I get up some days and think I suck, and I go through all that stuff. But as a person with ideas, I must have a problem with my brain, because there'll be times at night I'll wake up or during the day and ideas will just pour out. So I will start typing this idea, and it actually feels like there's something wrong. So I have ideas. That I know I'm good at. Sometimes I play, you play with Larry, you play with Victor North, guys here in Philly, and you get done and you think, okay, I suck. But I have the ideas, and I have enough business chops to kind of survive how I have over the years, which is great that I got to spend my life playing the vibraphone, which was all I ever wanted to do. Once I fell in love with it, I just wanted to play, and I didn't care, I didn't think about money or anything else. And that's how it worked out. I've played my whole life now. So what we're doing tonight, which is to me pretty cool, and I actually I was thinking of a title for it as I was driving today, and I realized it was something old, something new, and then something unknown, and something blue. So the whole night is set up. The old is me and Elliot, and I'm sure the question and answer part, everybody have questions for Elliot, which would be great. They can ask somebody, about Bill Evans, Michelle Petrucciani, Vince Guaraldi. I mean, just incredible musicians. And the new part is I have a student that's going to come up and play. And the great thing about teaching as you get older, you kind of look at the world and think it's going to end. And I remember when I was young, all the old people around me, oh, it's going to end this and this. And I would think, no, it's not. It's great. So when you have young, promising students, you can look out at the world and just go, okay, maybe we're going to be okay. And this is a student, Olivia Hugard, who's going to play tonight. She's been in my settlement ensemble, and I've watched her become a really good saxophonist, and she's putting on her own festival in a week, the Key of She Festival, which is done by an 18-year-old young woman. So that blows my mind, and I just thought, I want to bring her in for everybody to meet. Because the Jazz Bridge thing, it's not just a concert. I always think of it as more of an event. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to meet Elliot. And one of my favorite bass players is Brian Howell. And we played a gig about a year ago with Elliot, and they sounded great together. So I put Brian on it and just kept it as a trio, because I thought, well, there's enough up there. Just Elliot is enough to focus on. So I thought, 3 pieces will be fine for this. Well, I can say I have been a Jazz Bridge fan, I don't know, since, what was it, the 80s? When was it?
15 years ago.
When I just remember Suzanne Cloud and Wendy Simon, and I just fell in love with them. Like, I had crushes on them. I couldn't believe what kind of women they were and how great they were. And sometimes I think guys like to see women who are kind of good caretakers, and they're amazing. So I just love them from the get-go, and then Renda and all these other amazing women. I think now there's guys involved. So I think it's one of the best things. I think it's one of the best things in Philadelphia. I mean, it's musicians helping musicians. So I have a deep love for Jazz Bridge and all the people around it. Well, when I think about Philadelphia and how it influenced me as a musician, the great thing about Philadelphia that I think, maybe not everybody, it's musically, as far as jazz goes, it's kind of traditional. Larry McKenna, Bootsy Barnes, it's the guys that stand out in the city, it seems to me, are the traditional guys. Some of the avant-garde guys have a little bit more trouble here. In fact, if I have a student who's playing more avant-garde out, I always say, go to New York. I said, I don't think Philly's the place for you. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe the avant-garde guys would say, no, that's not true, so I apologize. But we have just the most amazing drummers and bass players ever. And all the bass players, the bass players I play with, they're phenomenal. The drummers, we have Byron, we have Dan Monahan, we have such great drummers. I'm playing with a young guy named Steve Perry. So all these young guys. So what's great is I got to get my foundation in Philadelphia, because without a foundation, you're not going to be able to do it in Philly. So whether I'm great, I'm good, I'm okay, I know I got the foundation part together because of playing in Philly and playing with all the musicians. And we care about tunes, we care about bass players have to have a good feel, they have to walk, nice drummers have to swing, and those things help me as a musician.